What if you could increase your closing rate right here at the kitchen table by 2 to 3 times overnight, or even faster? I bet you'd be interested. And if you are, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to be teaching you the one simple phrase that you can be using to close more deals. I'm talking 2 to 3 times more deals at the kitchen table on the spot by doing what I'm going to be teaching you in this video. This video was inspired by you because everything on this channel is built upon this simple foundation. You ask, I answer. When I see enough of the common themes, like how to present to an HOA, which I did last week, that's what inspires these videos. And I get these videos all the time. Adam, I'm getting inspections using your slap canvassing formula. Adam, I'm using your famous one-liner, the do you have any objection if ... to get on more roofs. But my problem is I'm not closing the sales. So we have these different problems, right? Get past the door to get the inspection, then bring home the business, bring home the bacon, which means signing deals here at the kitchen table. But we need to understand the psychological dance that's occurring between this person right here, my fictitious friend Peggy, you've heard about Peggy plenty, and me, and how I get Peggy to say yes, 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 until we get to that final yes where she say, hey Peggy, go ahead and just slap your autograph right there and we'll get started right away. And until we get there, we need to understand what's going on in their mind. And the most beautiful part about sales is learning how to get out of our own head and experience things through the eyes of Peggy. Peggy is our ideal salesperson. Peggy is the one that needs to hear the exact thing that's going on through her head so she can say yes to you. We need to get out of our own head and stop being sensitive and stop being apprehensive. And we need to learn the dance of sales, the psychological back and forth. And it starts with this. So stick around because I'm going to be teaching you this one-liner, but only after we lay the foundation of what it takes to get there. Now, I was in your shoes. I sucked at closing. You've heard me say this before. I had no sales experience when I got into the business. I made all my sales on the follow-up. I was a follow-up king. And it wasn't until I started closing deals on the spot that I started to piece together what it takes to get it done right now. And I at first thought it was just being pushy. That's BS. And I at first thought it was asking for the business. That's wrong too. Yes, you got to ask for the business, but it's a critical mistake that's happening before that. And if you're not closing as many sales as you think you need to be or as you should be on the spot, it's because you're missing this link, okay? Now, what is this link? It is a link to the first yes of many. Getting to yes is how we make sales, and too many people are too pushy. And I hear it all the time. I was the 5th roofer at the door, right, that actually had an opportunity to do an inspection and talk to someone, whatever it is, and they say, you're the only one that didn't push this thing. Well, guess what? I did. I just did it the right way. I didn't push it aggressively. I pushed it in tango dance, push, pull with Peggy, my ideal client. And here's how it works. Let's talk for a minute about psychology, and let's talk about shifting dynamics to break down the barrier that naturally occurs between Peggy, my homeowner, whose door I just knocked on, and me, the door-to-door salesperson. I get off the roof, I do my inspection, I'm taking pictures on my phone, right? Well, guess what? You can even see that there's a glare on a screen, okay? Now my screen's black. I've got the screen protector on it. You can see it glistening here. It's impossible to see those photos and videos in the sunlight. So I go to Peggy, I say, hey Peggy, I've got some photo and video for you. I can't wait to show you. Where's a comfortable spot we could go and sit where we can get out of the sun and you can actually see the screen here? Okay, so I'm of service to Peggy to make it easier. What I'm essentially doing is asking for an invitation to get to the kitchen table. And if it's COVID times and you can't get to the kitchen table, maybe it's invited to the front stoop to sit down or step under a tree. It doesn't matter the location. Okay? What matters is that Peggy now initiates the move to invite you somewhere because now you are receiving an invitation. She is asking you, essentially. This is the psychological dance of where to sit. So Peggy says, you know what? Come on inside. And maybe Peggy offers me a cup of coffee. Well, just like I share in one of my earliest videos, which I still get emails from, Adam, I used to say no when people offered me water. Now I say yes. And the reason for that is it breaks down the barrier. A friend would say, you know what, I'd love a glass of water. I'd love a Coke. I'd love a soda. I'd love a coffee or tea or whatever it is. Say yes. All of a sudden that dynamic changes in your pals, okay? So I'm playing this game to dance, to build relationship, to break down these barriers. And when I say a game, I don't mean it as playing a pawn. That is far from it. What I mean is I understand the psychological dance that's going back and forth like a tango. So now that Peggy was kind enough to offer me this beautiful espresso, thank you, Peggy, I sit down, we're pals, we're talking, and I'm going through my photos. So Peggy can see exactly what I found. I do my spiel, I talk about where things are, how the process works, and what the situation for her roof is and why she might want to take action now. And I'm going to wait for Peggy to answer questions. Now, this is the line. This is the piece that is missing. And it's this simple, and I want you to write it down. Remember this. Peggy, would you like to hear how we can help you with this process? Again, Peggy, would you like to hear how we can help you with this process? Simple. What did I just do there? I got my first yes. That was asking Peggy if she wanted me to pitch to her. Okay, now of course I'm not saying that to Peggy. What I'm saying is, would you like to hear how we can help you? This is the part of the process where I'm going to start to share about our business. But what everybody, almost every new salesperson that I've shadowed misses this. They get nervous. So what do? They go through it and say, all right, Peggy, so there's your roof. And for us to help, all we need to do is go through this contingency agreement. And I'm going to lock you in. You're going to have to work with us. And we're going to get going. And we work for the insurance proceeds. And just sign here. Okay, that is force. That is aggressive. That is pushy. People sniff it out. It doesn't work like that, but imagine the difference. Peggy, would you like to hear how we can help you through this process? Yes, excellent. Now, I'm going to show you some paperwork, but before I do, I just want to give you the simple version of how this whole thing works, okay? By the way, if you want more, click up here on this card and check out the video I did on using the contingency agreement as a sales tool. Because it is a sales tool. And if you're not using a contingency agreement, but you're doing handshake deals, I don't recommend that. However, there are some companies who culturally believe it. They use it as a differentiator and it works. And hey, if it works, why fix it, right? Those 3 points I cover in that video are still going to help you, I promise. Because it positions you as the expert and it prizes the opportunity to work with you. So the difference here is, Peggy, would you like to hear how we might be able to help you? That's the one-liner. When they say yes, now you go through the paperwork. Then, after you walk through what the next steps are, and if it's retail, it doesn't change. The same applies to retail as it does with storm work, whether it's wind, hurricane, or hail. You ask first, would you like to hear how we can help you? You can even modify it or play with it yourself. Would you like to hear how I can make this process a piece of cake for you and all you'll have to do is pick colors? Okay? Yes. Anything where they can say yes. Put your own spin on it. Have some fun. All right? Peggy, would you like to hear how we be able to take care of this for you? To handle everything and all you have to do is pick colors? Yeah, sure. So then I go through the process. Then I pause and I say, Peggy, do you have any questions for me so far? And she says, no. Great. Then I'm ready to ask for the business. We're going to talk about that in a second. If Peggy says, you know what, I do have a question or two, then we go through the process. Okay, I answer those questions, then I come back again. Any other questions? I'm going to ask that until I get to no, because I don't want them to have any questions, because if I ask for the business too soon and there are questions on their mind, that's when they say, I have to think about it. That objection, by the way, the I have to think about it, is really code for you didn't answer all my questions. I don't even know what my questions were, but something is unsatisfied. I don't feel closure, therefore this isn't a safe decision. Because the way our minds work for decision making is fundamentally built upon a mammalian brain, a fight or flight, a safety mechanism. If you don't feel safe to them, they will not move forward. And often it is, you know that spidey sense, your intuition, you feel like someone's looking at you or watching you. There's some things that we just can't describe. And what that is an unclosed loop. It's our mind saying, something's off. I don't have answers. I don't have clarity yet. Therefore, it's not safe. Okay? So what we want to get to is a place where that homeowner, where Peggy feels like you've covered everything. And how many people have reached out and said, I chose you because you took the time to explain everything to me. You might even be the worst roofer in the world. But if you explain it right, you're going to win the business. Now, you shouldn't be the worst roofer. It's about service. If you're the worst roofer, you're not going to last. But my point is that everyone might be doing the same thing. The difference is how it is explained. So now, let me grab my pen. Let's talk about the asking for the business part. And that is crucial. That's what's called the call to action in marketing, CTA. All right, and if you saw an ad, for example, let's say a nice coffee maker, an infomercial on TV, call now to order, right? Order online now at, and then the website. Everything is crystal clear. There's no wishy-washy. They tell you what to do. That is a call to action, a direct Command. Think of it as a command. I need you to do this right now. There's a difference between being kind and authoritative. If you are dictating a construction project and there's, let's say, you need some help holding something up and someone's coming in for this and that, you're not just saying, hey, can you come help me out? You're like, go hold that corner right now. Right? It's direct. It's clear. People need this same level of direction. The same as your pet dog. You're not going to be like, oh, hey, Fluffy, do you think you want to come over and sit next to me? No. Fluffy, come, sit. And then Fluffy sits. People respond the same way. They need clear direction. They need to be told what to do. But we need to do the dance to get to yes, to get there. So we did the first one, which is, hey, Peggy, is this something, Peggy, would you like to hear how we can help you through this process? Make it super simple. All you'll have to do is pick colors. It's a yes or no question, different than the open-ended question that we use in the SLAP formula at the door. This is closed-ended, meaning yes or no. She says yes, I present, okay? Now, closed-ended question. Peggy, do you have any questions for me so far? Yes or no? If she says no, then we continue. Then I go through, great. In order for us to get started, I can get started on this right away. All we need you to do is autograph right here. I'll put a little highlight down it, and I pass the pen over, and I wait. I am told her what to do. All we need to get started, by the way, I never say sign. Sign sounds scary. I say put your autograph for John Hancock right here. Tell them what to do. It's not abrasive. You don't have to be rude. Tell them what to do. You sign here, we get started. I'll leave you with a copy. I take a copy. This is what will happen next. You have to let them know what happens next. Okay? It's the same thing when you order a new computer online. You're going to check the shipping. People want to know, even though it's 2-day shipping, you still check it. We always want to know what's next. So Peggy, all we need to do to get started is your autograph right here. I'll give you the pen. I'm going to leave you a carbon copy. We take a carbon copy. I'm going to get that claim called in with you right now, and I will be here for the adjuster. Sound good? Great. There it is. And we're direct. So remember this. To close more deals, you need to use the one phrase before you even bring up the contingency, your pitch, or a retail sale. Would you like to hear how we can help you through this process? That is the one-liner that will transform everything else, that key transition from this to that, to play the psychological game of dancing, to earn the trust, to present, to have permission to pitch, to get to yes. Your goal is to go through all the questions, and when they are done, boom, all you need to do for us to get started right away on your project, which, by the way, people like things fast. Use that one. All I need to do to get started on your project right away is your autograph right here, and then I'll leave you a copy. We'll get this process started for you. Sound good? Great. And there it is. Excellent. Now, to get to this point, you might need help overcoming objections. For that reason, I have a playlist for you, and it's right here. So pop into this playlist. If it's not right there, it'll be there shortly. And learn how to overcome all the objections, like I already had a roofer look at it, or I want my insurance to come out first, and all these big objections. You can watch that here. And if you haven't done so already, click here to get a free copy of my Pitch Like a Pro roofing sales training video library. It's every video I've ever done, organized by category. So just because our time here is done doesn't mean it should be. And I'll continue with you in this playlist on overcoming objections, or I will email you a copy of your Pitch Like a Pro roofing sales training video library. Click here, and I will see you on the next one.